In the chilling new chapter of the iconic horror franchise Final Destination, Bloodlines, 2025, plunges viewers once more into the relentless pursuit of death, this time focusing on a family seemingly cursed by a terrifying premonition from decades past. The film opens with a deceptively joyful scene, Iris and Paul, a loving couple celebrating the grand opening of the towering Skyview Tower. What begins as a romantic surprise for Iris, a proposal from Paul, quickly spirals into a horrifying vision of mass destruction. Iris, inexplicably granted a glimpse into the future, foresees the tower's collapse and the gruesome deaths of all within it, including her fiancé. Her frantic efforts manage to avert the immediate catastrophe, saving countless lives. However, this act of defiance against destiny sets in motion a chain of events far more insidious and personal. Years later, the shadow of Iris's premonition continues to haunt her granddaughter Stefani. Plagued by vivid recurring nightmares of the Skyview disaster, Stefani finds her life unraveling, her academic future jeopardized by the relentless terror that invades her sleep. Driven by desperation, she embarks on a journey to uncover the truth behind her dreams, leading her to the estranged and reclusive Iris. What Stefani uncovers is a chilling legacy. Death, a vengeful and unyielding force, has been systematically reclaiming the lives saved that night at the Skyview, meticulously following a pattern that now extends to their unsuspecting descendants. Final Destination, Bloodlines explores the terrifying implications of inherited fate as Stefani and her family grapple with the horrifying realization that they are living on borrowed time, caught in death's inescapable design. The movie opens with a couple, Iris and Paul, on their way to a surprise. Paul has blindfolded Iris, building up anticipation. They arrive at the Skyview Tower, a newly opened impressive structure where Paul has arranged a reservation for opening night. However, they are informed they are over capacity. Paul tries to pull favors, mentioning a Jake, but is told Jake was let go that morning. Despite the setback, they manage to sneak into the crowded venue, with Paul reassuring a hesitant Iris that she looks like $1 million. Once inside, Iris is visibly uncomfortable, admitting she's scared of heights. Paul, ever the charmer, dismisses her fears, telling her the night is perfect because he's with her. As Paul goes to get champagne, Iris heads to the ladies' room. There she encounters an older woman who, upon seeing Iris, immediately asks how far along she is in her pregnancy. A surprised Iris admits she's only a month or two along and hasn't told Paul yet. The woman reassures her, saying if he loves you he won't let go. Back with Paul on an observation deck, he prepares to propose, but just as he's about to, Iris sees a penny drop from above. Suddenly a premonition strikes her. She sees the dance floor collapsing, explosions, and people falling to their deaths, including Paul. In a panic, she grabs the penny from a fat-ass man about to throw it, shouting for everyone to get off the dance floor. Her frantic warnings are initially dismissed as hysteria, but her persistent shouts create a commotion. Miraculously, she manages to get people off the dance floor just as a section of the glass floor shatters, preventing a massive disaster. Years later, we meet Stefani, a college student plagued by a recurring nightmare. It's the exact premonition Iris had: the Skyview Tower, the collapsing floor, and the deaths culminating in her own death. The dreams are so vivid and disturbing that they are affecting her sleep and consequently her grades, putting her on academic probation. Her friend Steph suggests she go home and find out more about her grandmother Iris, who Stefani believes is the woman in her dream. Stefani confesses she never met her grandmother and doesn't even know if she's alive. Stefani returns home, where she's greeted by her dad and younger brother Charlie. She immediately asks about a box of her mom's old things, specifically looking for an address book that might contain Iris's contact information. Her dad informs her he got rid of those boxes years ago after her mom left. Charlie, overhearing, teases Stefani about flunking out of school and mentions their Uncle Howard dislikes any mention of Iris. Determined, Stefani accompanies Charlie to visit their cousins Eric, Julia, and Bobby. She tries to subtly inquire about Iris with Uncle Howard, who immediately becomes agitated. He reveals that Iris is a deeply disturbed woman and the reason Stefani's mother is screwed up. Howard recounts how after his father died, Iris snapped, becoming obsessed with death and locking them in the house. Eventually, the state intervened and took him and Stefani's mother away. Even in foster care, Iris sent them disturbing letters filled with obituaries and pictures of dead bodies, forcing them to move repeatedly to avoid her. Howard vehemently warns Stefani to stay away from Iris for her own safety. Despite his warning, Aunt Brenda, sensing Stefani's desperation, subtly hints at a hidden drawer in the dining room cabinet. Following Aunt Brenda's clue, Stefani finds a hidden compartment containing old letters and, most importantly, Iris's address. She goes to the address, a heavily secured house covered in warnings. Iris, a seemingly paranoid and frail woman, reluctantly lets Stefani in after making her empty her pockets. Iris immediately recognizes a resemblance to Stefani's mother. Stefani reveals her recurring dreams about the Skyview, describing the exact premonition Iris had years ago. Iris confirms that it wasn't just a dream but her premonition. She recounts how she saved countless lives that night, but that Death doesn't like it when you fuck with his plans. She explains that Death systematically came back for everyone who was at the Skyview that night, killing them one by one, including her beloved Paul. Iris tells Stefani she learned to anticipate Death's moves and has been keeping him at bay for years. She then reveals her own terminal cancer diagnosis, which she received 2 months prior, the exact time Stefani's dreams began. Iris believes her premonition was passed on to Stefani. Iris desperately tries to convince Stefani to stay and learn from her research, a large collection of notes and clippings about Death. She states that the outside world is too dangerous and that death is coming for their family. Stefani, overwhelmed and still skeptical, tries to leave, dismissing it as just a dream. Iris, desperate, tries to give Stefani her book, a lifeline to keep their family safe. As Stefani tries to leave, Iris shouts, "Seeing is believing," and is suddenly and violently struck down by an unseen force, her face exploding, seemingly a victim of death completing its plan. At Iris's funeral, a somber Stefani apologizes to Uncle Howard, admitting he was right about Iris. However, she shares Iris's last words about death coming for their family. Suddenly her mother Darlene arrives, having been contacted by Stefani via email. The family attempts to reconnect at a barbecue, though Darlene and Charlie are still strained. Howard gives Darlene a house key, offering her a place to stay, but she declines, stating, "They're better off without me." During the barbecue, as Uncle Howard prepares to do a backflip into the pool, Stefani has a terrifying realization. She connects Iris's book of obituaries and articles to the order of deaths in her premonition. She explains to her family that death is systematically coming for those who were saved at the Sky View, and now for their descendants because they were never supposed to exist. She reveals that since her father and Aunt Brenda are not of Iris's bloodline, they are safe. But following the pattern, death will target the oldest members of Iris's bloodline first, meaning Eric is next, followed by Julia and then Bobby. Just as she finishes her frantic explanation, Uncle Howard, mid-backflip, lands awkwardly in the pool and appears to be dead. The family is in shock, grappling with the chilling reality of Stefani's dire warning. Stefani attempts to convince her family of the impending danger. She explains that after Uncle Howard's death, the deaths list will move to their branch of the family, Darlene, then herself, then Charlie. Eric and Bobby dismiss her theories, seeing their father's death as a tragic accident, not part of a supernatural conspiracy. Aunt Brenda, devastated and tired of what she perceives as Iris's nonsense, also refuses to believe Stefani, urging her to let it go. Julia, though initially supportive, distances herself, stating that Iris's beliefs had derailed her mother's life and she doesn't want the same for Stefani. Later, Eric, still in denial, works at a tattoo parlor. He brags about surviving a fire that broke out there the previous night, attributing it to luck and his leather jacket, and showing off a brand-like scar. Stefani, however, sees this as further proof that death is coming for them, as Eric was next on her predicted list. She warns him about a tree trimmer and children playing soccer, predicting a chain of events that could lead to his death. Eric, still defiant, mocks her, even daring death by touching a truck she warns him about. His playful taunting culminates in him saying, "Death's not coming for our family." At that precise moment, a speeding garbage truck appears out of nowhere and fatally runs over Julia, who was standing nearby, silencing her mid-sentence. The family is shattered by Julia's sudden death. Stefani blames herself, believing she screwed up the order. However, Aunt Brenda reveals a shocking secret: Eric is not Howard's biological son. This explains why Eric, despite being older, wasn't next on death's list. He wasn't part of Iris's bloodline. Darlene, Stefani's mother, confesses that she had an affair and Eric's biological father is Jerry Fenberry. This revelation re-establishes the correct order of death's targets, confirming that Bobby is next in line on Iris's side of the family. With a renewed sense of urgency, Stefani, Charlie, and Darlene set out to find JB, a person mentioned in Iris's notes who supposedly cheated death and survived. Bobby insists on joining them, citing numerous house-related deaths from Iris's book as reason not to stay behind. During their journey to Hope River Hospital, where JB works, Darlene opens up to Stefani about her own struggles with Iris's beliefs, admitting she left because she feared passing on the same paranoia and trauma to her children. At the hospital, they meet William John Bloodworth, who confirms he is JB. He recognizes them and knew Iris, revealing she saved his life at the Skyview Tower when he was a child. He was the little boy who was supposed to be the last to die in Iris's premonition. JB explains there are only two ways to cheat death: by taking a life, which grants the killer the victim's remaining lifespan, or by dying and being resuscitated, which breaks the cycle. He cites the case of Kimberly Corman, a woman who flatlined and was brought back to life, thus escaping death's plan. JB, now terminally ill himself, refuses to help them further, stating he's tired and will simply enjoy the time I have left. Desperate, Eric convinces Bobby to try the flatlining method. They head to an MRI room, planning to induce an allergic reaction in Bobby by having him eat peanut butter. Eric will then wheel him to the ER for resuscitation. However, Bobby's peanut allergy unexpectedly doesn't manifest. As they frantically try to find an alternative, Eric accidentally triggers a falling metal object from the ceiling, which impales him, killing him instantly. Eric's unexpected death, despite not being directly related to Iris's bloodline, is attributed to "when you fuck with death, things get messy." Realizing nowhere is safe outside, Stefani, Darlene, and Charlie decide to seek refuge in Iris's old fortified cabin, which had protected Iris for decades. Darlene, seeing the danger, insists on staying in the cabin alone to protect her children, believing that as long as she lives, death cannot touch them. As they drive to the cabin, death manifests as various threats. Darlene attempts to sacrifice herself to ensure Stefani and Charlie reach the cabin safely. She gets hit by a falling object, seemingly dying. Charlie, in a desperate attempt to save Stefani, performs CPR on her. Stefani wakes up relieved and Charlie tells her, "You died and I brought you back. We're safe now." Months later, the family is seemingly back to normal, celebrating Charlie's prom. Stefani appears healthy and Charlie is praised for bringing her back from the dead. However, Jenny's father, Dr. Reddick, a medical professional, comments that Stefani wasn't truly dead, her heart never stopped. He clarifies that Charlie simply got her breathing again. This revelation shatters their hope. Stefani never flatlined, meaning Death's plan was not truly broken. As the terrifying truth dawns on them, Death in the form of a falling object narrowly misses Stefani, signifying the chase is far from over. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.